Hey folks, Mr. Tolly. So I was sitting around. I've been asked about this clutch that I made for my wife. I made one for my wife 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while. Very labor intensive, to say the least. It's got card pockets. It's lined. It's got a zippered coin or zippered slot or zippered pouch in the middle of it. I don't know how to explain it. It's great and it's lovely. And the way I made hers is kind of the same way I'm going to make this, but this is way simple. It's almost a wristlet, but yet it's a clutch. No zippers. It's got 2 snaps and 3 pieces to it. The 3 pieces are 2 welts, not welts, gussets, and the main body. I sit and I think of stuff when I'm sitting around watching TV and such. So I've already cut the leather. I've already oiled it. I'm going to dye it. I think I'm just going to use black dye just for the sake of having, that's what I've got the most of right now. It's a trial piece all the way. But when I do my patterns, you know, it's a temporary pattern. If I like it and I think it'll sell, I'll cut this out of the bag stiffener material and keep it around. And I thought of a lot of different ways to do the top here. You know, maybe put a buckle on it, a magnetic closure, a twist closure. I could do any of those things if I wanted to. The whole point is to keep this really, really simple, really easy, and quick to make. And if I can get it quick enough to make and easy enough to make and it goes over well, I'll have clicker dies made, and hopefully I'll take you through the ride of, I'm going to build a clicker press. It's going to be totally manual, no hydraulics, maybe. Oh, I don't know yet. But my leather's oiled, I just got to dye it. So I'm going to apply the dye, and back. The simple clutch. When you do your end gussets, you got to remember to, if you're going to burnish the top and the bottom right away. Around the outside, if you're going to bevel it, you can go ahead and bevel around the outside. Just don't do the sides on the inside. Just do the top and the bottom. And then a quick burnish. And as per my normal, just a little bit of dye on the edge, and a quick burnish with the canvas. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to finish. I'm going to do the top edge here, and then I marked from here, I went 7/8 of an inch between the 2 spots, which is marked on my pattern, and I went up the length of that 3 inches, and then I'll just burnish the rest of that around. So I'll get that done, and I think I'm going to go ahead. I have some acrylic Resolene that's black, and I'm going to go ahead and put Resolene on these just to bring a little shine. They're buffed out and they look okay, but I want to put the Resolene on it just as a little extra protectant, because there's really nothing to protect this right now. So we'll be back. Hey guys, so I'm being given the size of this piece. I want to show you, hopefully get the idea here. One of those is a line 20 and the other is a line 24. The smaller one is a line 20. On a piece this big, I prefer to use a bigger snap, a line 24. But the problem that I run into is that post is too long for this thickness of leather. This works great on a 7 to 8 ounce leather, but on a 4 ounce it's too long. So I need to knock about a 1/16 or so off of there, maybe a little more. The post is, well, it's every bit of a 1/4 of an inch long. But if I knock a 1/16 off it, it winds up being good enough to do this job. It'll still roll over. The problem is that post gets rolled over into the snap, and that's what holds the two pieces together. It rolls down inside this piece so that it's, I'll try to show it better when I actually assemble it, but that's what holds it all together. And if you can't get a good tight roll on it, your snaps don't work right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to shave a little off of there on the sander, and then we should be good. So I'll just take a 1/16 off and we'll get back after it. Alright, I'm going to set snaps and I'm going to zoom in so you can see it better. Can we get closer? And still. So you'll notice I have my granite out because I want a good solid surface for these to be on. I like to put the button side is going to go on the front, of course, so that'll go on this side, and I like to put the female part of the snap on the front. So starting on the back, we have to make sure that the flat part's on the inside. I don't need my anvil for this part, and I want the male portion of the snap to go in there. Now my post is ground down so it's pretty much flush with this part, and that's about where you want it. This is going to get a little noisy. And hopefully you can see in there how that just rolls that over, and that's what holds this. It ain't going anywhere now. So we'll do the same for the other one. Once I've got it set, I kind of like to just roll my tool around a little bit, and it just seems to, I don't know, make it prettier. So back here, got them both set. The other side, I want the button to face the outside, and for that part I need to use the anvil because the anvil is dished. I've got mine covered in tape, and that's because the metal anvil, I had an issue with one of them. Not this anvil, but I had an issue with another one, that when I set it, it scuffed the snap. And it was a brass snap. And there you go. Come on. Just set right there. Let's get the other one. I have found that if you force these too much, you're going to have, you know, if you hit it really hard and fast with a hammer, we'll zoom back out. If you hit these really hard with a hammer when you're setting them, that you can screw them up. So, let's make sure that they work. You kind of get an idea what that clutch will be like when it's done. So, I'm going to get my granite off of here. I did punch the holes here. I punched them in my gussets. I'm trying something a little different to try to alleviate some of the stress on the leather. I'm going to go ahead and stitch this up. Pretty simply, I'll just put a little glue on here, lay my gussets in on the front, and then I will glue the backs and stitch those up. So I'll be back in a little bit. I might show you a little stitching on one of these. We'll see. Well, finished product. All done. Came out pretty nice. I like it. The one thing I was always told by everyone I've ever talked to, make sure that your phone fits in it. And mine fits in there pretty easily, so hopefully that'll work out just fine. Once it's in use, everything is gonna start looking a little better, look a lot nicer. Just getting a little age on it seems to make a world of difference in a project like that. Excuse me. But it's a pretty quick and easy project. I let my dye sit overnight after I dyed it, just to make sure it was good and dry. Other than that, I've got maybe 3 or 4 hours into it. At most. So y'all stay safe. God bless. We'll catch you next time around.